Welcome to episode 3 of the PhotoComment Podcast. I'm Tristan Hall, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Sony NEX-7, which we've just got our hands on. We're also going to be looking at some other accessories we've got recently for review, looking at some news, and also wrapping up with a quick tip on how to keep your camera safe with the summer showers which we're experiencing at this time. First off, just a reminder that the October issue of PhotoComment magazine is now live at photocomment.net/magazine. You can also find the printed copy and a list of stockists at that same place on the website as well. So be sure to check it out and enjoy it. Give us some feedback of what more you'd like to see inside future issues of the magazine. First of all, we want to start off with some news. And in the news, there's some exciting and some sad news this week. Sad news in particular comes out of hearing the passing of Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple, and with that our heart goes out to those who are his loved ones who are left at this time, and we think perhaps there's been no greater person to influence the technology sphere in this generation as what Steve Jobs has been. So our heart definitely goes out to those who are experiencing the loss of him at this time. His news of his passing comes just 2 days after Apple announced the iPhone 4S, an announcement which saw many people a little bit disappointed because they were hoping to see an iPhone 5. And apart from putting a bigger screen into the phone, I just can't see what else people expected to find out of it. But, you know, perhaps there's some other cards up their sleeve which just weren't cost effective at this time to include. But the iPhone 4 came into the history books by being the most popular camera on Flickr not so long ago, surpassing even the Nikon D90, which was the top spot camera for a while. And because of things like that, Apple have gone to improve the iPhone 4S from a camera point of view significantly. They've increased the resolution from 5 to 8 megapixels. It's a backlit CMOS sensor. It's got a 5-element f2.4 aperture lens inside there. It's got some of the fastest startup times and shortest delay times between pictures of any phone on the market, and in fact even put some entry-level compact cameras to shame. So this is definitely going to be an exciting camera. If you're an Apple fanboy looking for a great camera, you can definitely turn to your iPhone 4S once that ships. Hopefully before the end of the year globally, we'll see that. Well, we recently got our hands on Sony's NEX-7, and this is a mirrorless version for all intents and purposes of the Alpha A55, A77 and A65. Basically the same 24 megapixel camera, the same OLED viewfinder which was in the A77 and the A65, but without the translucent mirror, without any mirror in the camera. It's a little bit bigger than the other NEXs on the market, but they've done some clever little things to make it appeal to a far more serious or professional audience than the current NEXs offer. It's got a little built-in flash which it didn't have previously. It's a bit flimsy, but it's there for those emergency situations when you need it. They've helped also by putting an Alpha shoe on the top of it, so any Sony Alpha flash will be able to work on here, and it'll even work wirelessly once you've got one flash as your master on top of the camera. It's got 2 control dials for aperture and shutter when you're shooting manually. If you're shooting in aperture priority, one will control the aperture and the other will control your exposure compensation. And the overall handling and experience of the camera is fantastic. When it becomes available, I think I'm going to be putting my name up on the list first. Here in South Africa, though, unfortunately, it seems like we'll only see it early next year. So, you know, those of our global viewership will be able to see it a little bit earlier and, you know, give us some feedback on what they find on a day-to-day user basis with the camera. We'll bring you a full in-depth review on the website in the next week or two. Some other products which we found recently that were quite interesting for us is a new brand of accessories in South Africa called JYC, and this is being distributed by Photax. That's F-O-T-A-C-S. You can contact them for your nearest stockist. They've got some great accessories, one of which is this timer remote control, so you can do your time-lapse exposures using this, and it's available in a range of different camera compatibilities, so Canon, Nikon, Sony, Olympus even. And then the other accessory which JYC has is a set of radio slaves that is quite exciting for us. Conventionally, these cheaper radio slaves are limited to, you know, one type of user base. But with this particular one, they've gone and put a standard hot shoe on the one side, and on the other side they've got an Alpha hot shoe there. So if you're a Sony user or Canon user, Nikon user, you can buy this and use it with any of those flash guns. It's also got a fantastic little hole in the middle there for putting your umbrella straight into. So quite a handy little unit. We're going to be getting down and testing it. One thing that we think is going to be a little bit expensive about it, it doesn't use a standard penlight or AAA battery inside. It uses a CR2 lithium battery, and those cost about 2 or 3 times as much. So that might be a little bit expensive, but it'll also last a lot longer than what the normal competitors have to offer. Well, we wanted to show you a tip to keep your camera safe in showers, and this is partly inspired by an article that was posted on photocomment.net recently by Candace Peets about not caring if the sun don't shine. Well, when the sun doesn't shine, and now as we enter summer here in Johannesburg, the rain's going to come, and we're going to sit with the situation where you might want to be out there taking photographs, and you want to keep your camera dry. Well, the quickest and easiest way and cheapest way to do that is to grab yourself a strong Ziploc bag or a heavy-duty sandwich or freezer type bag, and then cut a hole out of it that you can go and spread across the lens. Don't cut it so big that your lens goes straight through it. We had some practice runs with that earlier. But what you want to do is cut a small enough hole that it just goes around the edge of the lens. You've got to pull it over a little bit tighter, and then screw your UV filter on top of that to allow for the sealing to take place so that there's no water coming through the front. An even better way to protect it further is if you've got a rubber lens hood for your lens. Pull it over the UV filter and then screw the rubber lens hood on instead. And that way you provide the protection of the UV filter instead of the lens being right behind the plastic. So try that out and see, I'm not going to say it's going to keep your camera safe in the heaviest of typhoons, but certainly if you're going to be using that in light showers and going out there when you really want to grab some inclement weather conditions, then by all means give that a try. And it's never failed me so far. Well, that's it so far for this episode. Be sure to join us for some more interesting articles up at photocomment.net. In particular, we've got one coming up soon that will talk about how to photograph lightning and hopefully not get struck by it at the same time. Till next time, enjoy.